Okay. Okay, so the selectmen have come out of executive session at 6:27 p.m. We will note that no motions were taken during executive session.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I guess for that. So that we now will move to 47 Seaside Lane, a drainage issue. 47 Seaside Lane is a property in White Sand Beach. It's actually not part of White Sand Beach Association, but it is, as you come down, you go by the town beach, you keep going toward Brighton Road, and there's what's notable is there is a white stucco house with a slate roof, and that's the Fox House, and this is the next one after that. And so between the Fox House and the property next door, 47, there is a drainage pipe which leaves the wetlands near the ball field within White Sand Beach. There's a lot of phragmites and so forth down. It would be to the east of their eastmost street going down. And that water drains under Seaside and then goes through the Fox yard and out to the beach, but on a diagonal way, and so there's a concrete structure in front of 47, and the new owner is trying to work to install a septic system, but he's trying to reconcile this drainage. Well, we really don't have anything to do with the drainage other than historically helping to unclog the pipe, which once it's in the beach, there has been a plastic corrugated pipe that often gets removed by the storms and has been a mess. And so Public Works has helped unclog the pipes just to protect personal property down there or real estate down there. So we met with the DEP and Keith Nielsen of DACO, and just trying to see who's doing what. And so we're hoping that the DEP will take the responsibility to extend the pipe from this concrete structure in the beach out into the water, which would then hopefully, if they weighted it down properly and all, would enable the water to drain out better, because as I say, the storms have historically disrupted this pipe. And but again, we do not have a responsibility in here. We want to be helpful but not become involved in it. We want to hand it off to the DEP and be done with it. So no real action here other than trying to facilitate a conversation with the DEP and the landowner and so forth. We also went to, the next item is Swan Brook Outlet. Swan Brook Outlet, do you know Swan Brook Outlet? Well, on the very west end of Miami Beach, there's a beach owned by Hawks Nest Beach Club, I think it's called. It's not Grub Garvin. It's a small association. It's not that formal, and it doesn't have a lot of houses, so they don't have mill rates and money and reserve and everything else. But in the past, the town has, we had Todd Macknick repair this structure, which twin 36-inch pipes come into this wood crib, And you can see over the years, it takes a beating. But there's a bulkhead, a big concrete, and two 36-inch pipes go under the beach and into the Swan Brook on the north side of the beach. And again, we have, the town has helped work on this, and this goes back into the 80s and so forth. It is not our property, the beach. It's not publicly accessible by the public or our residents. So we had a conversation about what to do, because this can be built back, but it takes such a beating with the storms, and because it's a box, the sand will come in and plug up the pipes, and it's quite a job to excavate, because you have these cross members. You can't get a machine in there and dig it out if sand accumulates in the thing. So there was a suggestion that there's a fence here you can see in the picture. It's the Miami Beach dividing line between Hawks Nest Beach here. The engineer was thinking that perhaps there might be a concrete sluiceway made so that the water from Swan Brook would not go into a pipe, that would come out with a grade and then turn into riprap and so forth, so you wouldn't have a structure that would get all destroyed by the weather. And this could be built sort of a V-shaped with a bottom and a V, and then should it get sand get in there, you take a machine and fix it, as opposed to try to work with this. So again, we have helped out with this. It is not our property, it's not our beach. Miami might be willing to help on this. These folks might collectively help out themselves, but have no idea what a cost figure might be to remediate this thing, and the engineer is going to just do a little work to see what might work and what expense might be to create this concrete sluiceway, let's call it.
Well, also, doesn't this Miami Beach needs this to operate, otherwise they get flooded, correct?
It does, yeah. If it doesn't drain properly, Swan Brook could pond back here behind the beach. So they have an incentive to have it work better. Also, there is a drainage pipe that comes from Hartford Avenue, the catch basins, which flows down, and then this goes lateral. So there is a slight contribution by Hartford Avenue water entering this Swan Brook. But it comes down under the railroad bridge at Cross Lane. The brook comes under there, and it across the lane from Teddy's, or Nickerson. It comes across and flows down the side of this.
Now, what's the condition of that pipe underneath 156, because it comes under the bridge too, right?
I don't know.
That could flows. Be a curiosity too, if that ever collapsed.
I've not heard that there's a problem with it, but I think over the years the reason the town became involved is that, well, the water comes from up there. But that's true with any river going into Long Island Sound, and we don't maintain Sheffield Brook, we don't maintain 4 Mile River, etc. So I think we have to put the brakes on saying that the town will solve everyone's problems, and we made that point.
Okay. There isn't any grant that they could look into?
Oh, possibly.
Yeah, because didn't Sheffield Brook have a grant
yes,
at one point?
That was a big
significant
deal.
Yeah.
That was upwards of $1 million, I think, because that
starts
starts way up.
Yeah.
Way up. Yep. The emergency management, I forgot about last time. The emergency management performance grant, Roberge can get a $5,000 grant, and the town with its spending in this area matches it, but he asked if we would enable me to execute the paperwork to get this emergency management performance grant. And then the money's in our budget as it is, and this just gives him an extra amount of money to do his work.
What's he planning on doing with it?
I think it's for the EOC, a lot of it, where there are improvements there, and I didn't read through all this stuff, but it's let's see, does it have a little synopsis? Staffing pattern, training history. We should have asked him when he was here, but I think it's probably an annual thing.
Well, we already have it budgeted.
I think the funds he has a number of funds that come from the millstone fee. We do receive a good bit of money from the millstone, and but this is Department of Emergency Services, so it's not millstone itself.
So this just allows him to apply for the grant?
Right,
okay.
The authorization.
Okay, I make a motion that we have you sign the application for emergency management performance grant 2019, I guess that's what it said. 2020?
Yes. Yep. 2019, fiscal year 19 application, it says on here. 19, but that, I don't know if it's retroactive or...
Okay.
Let me look at this.
I'll modify my motion that...
Well, actually, it doesn't say... I mean, this paperwork says 19, but...
Well, it is current.
I don't know, honestly, if it's... Why don't we just authorize my signing the emergency management performance grant for $5,000 without specifying, because if this is an older copy, it may be an annual thing, and he just gave me this.
Okay, I'll modify my motion to authorize the first selectman to sign the emergency management performance grant for $5,000.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And I don't have an update on the Soundview food truck thing, the festival. I think the last we heard, we were going to get a proposal from Barbara Neff Productions, and but I really don't have any update. So,
well, in our last minutes, it indicated that you were going to have the attorney review that.
Well, he did review something, didn't he? Because there's something that came through, checked, was it last week or something, about the, I remember seeing something on an email. Was it about the food truck and about the bidding, the bid policy, having her be the sole provider? That was it.
I think I missed it.
Okay.
Would that have been Michael Carey or some other provider?
I thought it was Jack
Collins?
I'm not 100%, but I remember reading something.
Okay.
Well, let's put this on for next time, and we'll get Frank to give us a new idea of what's going on
Okay.
here.
All right.
Because I do see Michael Carey an email, professional food services agreement for the food service festival. So it says attached copy of professional Pappalardo is unable to make changes on the computer, made notes, etc. So he has looked at this. So
Okay.
we'll get we will get I see some lines and so forth, so we'll get an update on that.
Yeah, I think that was a question. I know we did get something on our personal or our town email. We did get something, and then we were allowed to respond to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find it.
And one of my questions was, is the town allowed to, since it's going under the town of Old Lyme, we're in essence then supporting the Soundview Beach Association with all the revenues that came from the trucks that are on Gales Green. And is that something we can do? So that was one question I sent back. We're basically funding a 501(c)(3). And I don't know if we can do that.
Well, no, let me make sure I understand you.
Okay.
The Soundview Commission's putting this on.
But we have to pay through it because they roll through us.
Well, I mean, Soundview Commission is part of the town of Old Lyme, so the funds will go through Nicole, and disbursements will be made by finance. So it's the 501(c)(3). I mean, it's the town and Neff Productions.
The way that was written, where any trucks that are on Gales Green were going to be treated differently. All the revenues from that were going to go to the Soundview Beach Association. That's how I read that.
Yeah, that's right.
And can we do that under that one agreement? Because that was I don't know if we can do that, or does that have to be a separate agreement? I don't know.
Well, what made me nervous about that whole little statement is what happens if they put everything on Gales Green and they get all their things. I mean,
we don't have any control over that. Yeah,
right. I think they should make the $3,000 back first, then any extra can go on Gales Green.
I agree, and I think I said something like that to them too. It's like, can that be after we make sure we have our 3,000? Yeah, I agree with that.
I think he said that we would have to hit the 3,000 before.
I
didn't see that in the document. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, we'll get an update on
okay.
that.
That was my main concern about the whole thing. I really didn't have. I mean, it was kind of a $3,000 nominal thing about the bid thing,
and then insurance and everything else.
Well, obviously they're going to have to be insured and everything like that. But.
And are we covering our costs for the day, or do we care? I mean, we're going to have public safety involved, and
that's why I wanted to know the $3,000. I mean, that's $3,000 is just her cost.
Correct.
So we're going to have incurred costs also.
Right.
So when I think any of the extra above and beyond the cost, maybe if they make a profit, can go to the Soundview Association.
But do we want to make it? If there are direct costs of town sustains, do we want to cover those costs, or once we cover Neff, is that it?
We got to figure out what the costs are. I mean, if it's $50, I don't have a problem with that. But if we're going to spell out $2,500,
you could fantasize it if there has to be a policeman there.
Well, there's going to be hopefully a policeman there normally. So okay, so all right, are they going to give a temporary duty officer there at $85 an hour? Or are they paying for that? Or are we paying for that?
Well, if police is through the police budget, you wouldn't see it. But if it was itemized, you would see it.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll get Frank to give us another run at that. But
okay.
All right. Anything else for the good of the cause here?
This Mary Jo went over it, and I went over it. We just between the two of us tweaked these. I don't know, do we want to vote on that tonight, or do we have to vote on that? I still don't understand, do we have to vote on that?
It sounds like we don't have to, but
I think so.
But you do want to.
No, I believe David inferred that those two other documents would cover this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can just tweak that, and we can put those in that document?
Or if you need it, we've already kind of gone over it. There were some things in that, and again, we just looked at it really quickly, that if you're going to put anything out like that, I think should just be modified a little bit. It's the Freedom of Information Act. It's not the FOI law. It's FOIA. And these should be in agreement with the current state, the executive orders of the state. Here it just indicates that you could do business by phone, mail, email, or online, because we do have some online services. This part kind of jumped out at me, that the town of Old Lyme Town Hall will close to the general public except by appointment for the protection of town employees. It's really for the protection of everybody, so I don't think you even need to say that.
Yeah. Well, why don't we hold this to the next meeting and see how it goes? I mean, he inferred that those other two things gave us pretty broad. I mean, I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know if we can hold that till next meeting. My concern is, are we closing the town hall Wednesday morning?
Yeah.
That's what we want to know.
Yeah.
We think we need to come up with.
So,
I
this
think-
agreement or declaration says we're closing on Wednesday morning.
Well, we would probably get it out as part of that,
Part of
those
Dave's
other
stuff.
two things,
Okay.
and say that in accordance with what those two resolutions are, we are closing normal public access to the town hall.
Mm-hmm.
People can conduct business by appointment or
Well, that whole last paragraph there.
Yeah,
is
pretty
the
much
tweak
it.
that I think it's fine. I just,
that would be kind of the news release.
yeah, okay, so are we as a town hall or selectmen making that news release tomorrow?
I think we should.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
Consensus, and you have to notify the staff.
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we can get Michelle to draft something to go out to the media, to go out to the staff,
We'll put it on the
and
bridge
go on
thing.
to all
Everbridge.
the outbound stuff.
There's a lot available already from the other towns who have already done this that
Yeah.
she could template. I mean, I've looked at several over the last 24 hours, so I could send that to you and you could give that to
Okay.
her to, if it agrees with you, to
Yeah,
change it.
and-
But basically that's what it is, although some of them have certain hours of operations and we don't have to have that. And then in the future, if you want to add kiosk service or something.
I don't know. I don't know exactly what you mean. A kiosk is something, a round thing that you buy tickets or something. I don't know what. I think it's got to be by appointment. You can't have people coming in and going to some spot and then I don't know what they would do.
I think they can tweak it along the way. I think the easiest way would be tell all the departments tomorrow now, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
Wednesday
Today's the last
morning.
day, Wednesday morning.
Right.
If you get a customer that calls up and wants to drop off something, you can either meet them at the front door if they're just dropping off. Isn't there a mail slot there still?
Yeah.
There is.
Slip it in the mail slot. We'll take care of it. We'll, send you back a receipt, or
we could probably get
whatever.
a-
Or if you need to meet with someone, we have the online building services now. Mark said that's up and running.
Right.
So
And we
Will
could
the
probably-
doors be locked then to keep
I
the
think they
public?
sort of have to be locked.
Yeah, I think we could get a Corplast sign made up to put out front, maybe a couple of them, so that people coming to town hall would see the sign, because if they don't get the word, they're going to be confused.
Right.
And if they bang on a door, we'll probably have a transition period where somebody have to go to the door and explain what's going on. But it's been in the news, I'm sure, and so we'll get this out.
Yeah, I think it's a good first step. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll call Michelle tonight if I can get her. I think I have her number, and have her start thinking about this.
And I'll email you that when I get home. There was something else on this. Oh, what about the meetings that are planned, like Board of Finances tomorrow night? So theoretically, we're not closing Town Hall till Wednesday morning. Or are we saying 4 o'clock tomorrow? That would preclude the Board of Finance meeting.
Well, do they have to be open to the public? Do they just tell them up?
Yeah, a
Because there's
meeting-
no public comment. They're just going over budget.
It has to be
Well,
open.
it is a public meeting, so the public would have to be able to come to the meeting, just like we did today.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it, and we said we can't do it electronically at this point. We have to have the meeting.
Right.
So I think finance, if they meet at 7 o'clock. So technically, if it was Wednesday morning, they would still be able to meet tomorrow. Generally, the only people that come to the meeting are people who present. You do have 9 people around the table and a couple of clerical or employees. So you're talking probably 10, 11, 12 people.
Okay, well,
So-
you could put out the notice saying the town hall will be closed after the Board of Finance meeting Tuesday night, and then going forward, check the website.
I could talk to Andy, and if he thinks something different, we could follow his lead. His
Well, it's the state's lead. The state had Executive Order 7C, basically, I think it's C, might be B, laid out the 5 things you'd have to do.
right. But that would be very difficult to implement quickly, like for tomorrow. So
It wouldn't be for tomorrow, but for going forward.
yeah, going forward the week later, because they have this meeting coming up and another meeting, and then it's going to be sort of tweaking it and getting the final budget. So I think the people requesting are about ending. So it would be the board itself. But then they could do a telephonic thing, the final day, using one of these.
As long as, makes sense, because it's pretty tedious. When I looked at that thing, it's pretty tedious to expect you're going to record it, but then if you can't put it up onto the website, you have to transcribe it. So if you can do that.
Well, if we use these things, we can get the meeting uploaded to the web. It seems to me that, well, Michelle was looking at this, the computer company knows of some service that would be the 90-day freebie type thing that can mute the public and record the meeting and do everything.
Right.
So we don't know. I don't know anything about it other than it sounds good.
Yeah, from what I read, we don't have to really have public comment, but the public has to have access to the meeting. So the agenda has to show that here's the phone number, whatever, to call in.
Yeah.
And be able to listen. It can just be audio.
Yeah. And I think you have audio open for the members and closed for and maybe that's a setup, like you dial in the members' numbers and
Right.
they can call.
Right.
And then the public can call in and they can't speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that just gets uploaded in real time to the website. So then you don't have to do any transcription if they want to, or if they want to listen in on the web.
Yeah,
through the web.
I'm hoping that it might work that way. I don't know if it would be, as it's being said, it's on the web, or whether it would be something like this that would be uploaded, or just what. But
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That sounds
Good.
like a plan.
Okay. I'll call Andy and just clarify for him.
Okay. As things progress, Dave was talking about, or maybe about possibly having some meals available for people that are unable to pay for things. How do you want our board to be
Well, the
involved
senior
in that?
center has some food options for people for midday. It's Meals on Wheels kind of thing.
They have services through the estuary,
Yeah.
and they have to call the estuary in Saybrook. They have to go to Saybrook.
The
and
day
get it.
ahead.
They have to go to Saybrook and get it. It's
I thought it said that they would go to the senior center door.
no. Well, unless that's changed, because I saw that on Stephanie's email to everybody.
Let me just quickly.
But there's probably going to be people that are more than Meals on Wheels people, or that typically, or more than the typical cafe lunch group that may need some things going forward.
Okay. Normally, eat lunch at the senior will be able to order lunch to go through the Estuary Senior Center in Old Saybrook by calling. Those wishing to use the service can pick it up at the Lime Senior Center kitchen door on Tuesday. I guess you go once and you can get up to 5 meals.
Okay, so they're going to You have to order from the estuary, somebody is gonna bring it to the Lime, okay. Or
It would be
Senior Center.
shipped over here and then they can get them
Okay.
frozen, then you'd have to deal with that.
Oh, okay, all right,
Beyond that, I don't know.
okay.
We don't really have a capacity to, we'd have to think about that.
Okay, that's something. Also today, I got a call from Mary Seidner. Richard Stout,
Stop. Yeah.
who I've
Benchmark?
never. Yes,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
not met him.
Right.
He apparently called Mary, and he, from his company, wants to donate $10,000 to the effort.
Oh, wow.
And Mary told him that she was really working with me on this, and she thought. And then he put out a message to a lot of people about this. And then Mary called me, and I said, "Well, you know, that's not exactly what." I said, "That's not exact." Oh, and it included somebody from the media on this. I said, "Well, that's not exactly the right information. It really needs to go through Tim and Dave Roberge, all this funding." So I told Mary that. I told Dave. I told Nicole in case they got information on that. And the response I gave back to Richard was that generous offer, thank you, but you need to be working with the LYSB and emergency management.
What might make sense is that there could be some restaurants that are doing takeout that might be willing. You'd have to figure out how you could evaluate it and pick and choose, but like take Teddy's or Pizza Plus or I don't know whether Hideaway, but you might be able to use some local Subway, I don't know, and then have some criteria and do it that way. I don't think we want to get into trying to do food service as a town, but if they could sift through the requests and make sure they were in need and all that sort of thing, you could work something out, or you could just give a voucher to go somewhere to obtain food of some sort. Who knows? But we could brainstorm that.
Okay, I just wanted to let the board know, because
That's very generous. Yeah.
wasn't that nice of them?
Yeah.
And
All right.
That's all I have right now.
All right. Well, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Okay, it's 7.
one other
o'clock.
question came to mind, sorry. Sorry. Are we meeting as scheduled in the next meeting?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thank you.